Hello, beautiful peaches. Welcome to the Macros, Metabolism, and Motivation Beautiful Peach Podcast. I'm your host, Caitlen, a reverse diet expert, sustainable fat loss nerd, and food freedom lover. After healing my own mind, body, and metabolism from the icky, restrict, binge, food guilt cycles, I became obsessed with helping other women do the same. I spent 6 years getting my bachelor's and master's degrees in all things nutrition, dietetics, and metabolism health, go Clemson Tigers, in order to start a science-backed, never cookie-cutter, always customized online macro and reverse diet coaching business. I have supported over 3,500 incredible women in their journey to endless results, and I am so excited to help you do the same. In this podcast, I will be teaching you how to break up with the yo-yo diet cycles, tips and tricks to heal your metabolism through reverse dieting. I will be giving away my sustainable weight loss secrets, all without you having to give up a single food you love. So if you're ready to rediscover that self-love and truly become the most confident, beautiful peach possible, grab a pen and a piece of paper, bump up your volume just a little, and let's dive right in. And don't forget to snag your completely free high-protein macro cookbook. All you need to do is submit a quality 5-star rate and review on this podcast, then fill out the form in the show notes so I know exactly where to send your cookbook. This will actually also automatically enter you into the weekly macro calculator giveaway. Every week, I give away a copy of my C. Schmidt macro calculator to one lovely, beautiful peach who has left an awesome 5-star rate and review on this podcast. The winner is announced every single week in my email newsletter email list, as well as my Instagram story. You can't miss it. So leave that 5-star rate and review, and I will see you in the episode. What is up, my beautiful, beautiful peach? I am so very excited about today's episode and also the next 3 episodes coming your way. I am going to be doing the reverse dieting phases 1, 2, 3, and 4 in 4 different episodes because there is so very much to cover. And I talk so much on my episodes, on my podcast about reverse dieting, about healing our metabolism. And also, I have not gone through the 4 phases in far too long, and we are in serious need of a good, solid refresher. So I am very, very excited. I am pumped. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into reverse dieting phase 1, which is the Diet Burnout Plateau. I talk so much about reverse dieting, and I really want to take a deep dive into the 4 phases. But to give you some insight before we dive into our first phase, reverse dieting is how we're going to heal our metabolism from diet burnout, aka go from that lower calorie space all the way up to a higher calorie space without that mass weight regain. And the goal of this is to end the dieting once and for all, truly never have to diet again, lose weight long term so you're not having that yo-yo weight loss, weight gain happening, end the binge eating, end the restriction, and just really truly heal your body from the inside out. I personally was in a space where I was extremely stuck in the binge, restrict, food guilt cycle a little bit over 10 years ago. So a good solid decade ago, I've been in, ever since then, I've just been in this completely free space. And we're going to get into that a little bit more. But I was in a space back then where I was eating 900 to 1200 calories. I was saying no to social settings. I was really stressed out around food. I was terrified of doing anything that, the diet guidelines said not to do. And so I did 3 things that really, and we're going to talk about this a little bit later, but that really helped me go into this space of true endless freedom. Back then, this was way back in college, my freshman year, I was actually on a path to become a dentist or orthodontist. I didn't really know which one I wanted to do. Being someone who I had braces for about 8 years, give or take, had a retainer in there too at some point. And I was like, okay, I just want to be a dentist. I want to be an orthodontist. I want to help other people have, the beautiful smile, the great teeth, all the fun things there. And
once I actually started healing my own personal relationship with food, my own personal relationship with my binge eating, and really healing my body from the inside out, I fell in love with absolutely everything that related to the human metabolism, related to macros, to reverse dieting, to finding a way out of that diet world, becoming a diet dropout, and doing it in a way that's sustainable, maintainable, educational, and enjoyable, which those are my 4 pillars of all of my coaching, all of my programs, courses, all that fun stuff. So fast forward a little bit, I got my bachelor's degree in nutrition and dietetics. I then actually went on to get my master's degree in exercise science and sports nutrition. My overall goal at that time was to go work in a hospital as a dietitian. However, once I graduated from my master's degree, where I wrote my master's thesis on reverse dieting to heal our metabolism as well as our mentality, I said, you know what? I think I want to start my own company. I want to start create this space for women to have the comfort, have the confidence, have the clarity of knowing that they have a person they can trust, aka myself, who has not only been in their shoes in the past, but now is on the other side and has the education, the professional, the true solid educational backed, science and everything that I think that so many people lose when they're in the diet world and they're just jumping from one thing to the next without actually asking hey, is this source educated? Is this source, the way that my body works, is this going to last long term? And so I've now supported over 3,500. I think we're actually, that's just the number that I looked on a while back. And I think I'm closer to 4,000 now, but so many women heal from the inside out and go through these 4 phases of reverse dieting. So I am very, very, very excited. This is my passion. This just lights my soul. It lights my fire. It makes me so excited. So we're going to dive in. Today, we are going to be talking about reverse dieting phase 1, the Diet Burnout Plateau. And this is one where I think so many women are in the space of prolonged calorie deficits, whether that is, 1 year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 30 plus years ago. I work with many women who have been dieting for 20 to 30 plus years. Sometimes they're in their 60s and they're like, Caitlen, I've been dieting my entire life and I don't want to do it anymore. I want to live my life freely. I want to, for once, not have to wake up in the morning and think about food. And I think so many people also kind of get into this space where they think that they're broken. Their metabolism's had so much damage. Their body has so much damage that they are broken long term. And although, yes, it feels hard when you've been dieting for so long, you are not broken, okay? It is not possible to have a metabolism or body that's too far gone. I actually have this episode written down if you want to go listen to it, but podcast episode 82, literally it says, "Are you broken?" That's the title of the episode. That's a really, really good one if you do feel you are broken. But I'm telling you right here now, no, you are not. I have not worked with a single client who has truly not been able to see spectacular results, okay? It's impossible to be truly, truly broken. So take that and give yourself a little bit of ease knowing that. Now, whether the diet that you did was keto, Whole30, 21-day fix, fat loss pills, Ozempic is the new most, popular one right now. And I think it's so interesting to me. It's so wild to me hearing and seeing people that I know what I do and know that they should not be going into this diet world. But they say, okay, Ozempic's new. I've never heard of this. Ooh, maybe this is going to be what I want to do. And it's wait, but isn't that literally the same thing as every other kind of diet or pill or anything that weight loss surgery, right? They're all the same. They're all going to give you short-term changes with longer-term problems. But it's just crazy to me when things are so incredibly trendy, people jump on it without realizing, or internally, a lot of times we kind of try and suppress the fact that we know it's not going to work long-term, but it's trending now, so we're going to jump in on it, which the mama bear, the tough love in my heart that I feel like I have to share is, regardless of if you think it's going to help you short term, it's not going to last for long term. And just because everybody else is doing it does not mean that you need to be doing it as well. Okay. Now there's 30-day challenges, 75 hard, just cutting out food groups, and the list truly goes on and on and on. And the same thing that comes back again and again and again is all of these things have one thing in common, okay? They are all causing you to eat less food, okay? Now let's do an example. So I've got an example here, keto. And most people know what keto is. It's low carbs. So that's why I'm using this example. Essentially, when you start doing keto, you're removing your carbs. So you're eating all your carbs, whatever, maybe I have an example in my notes here later, but you're eating your carbs and then all of a sudden you decide you're going to cut them out. Okay. That's keto. Now, carbs have calories. They are one of our main macronutrients. Macronutrients is the longer word. That's the category for our protein, our carbs, and our fat. And protein, carbs, and fat is what all food is made up of, okay? So when we're consuming food, we're consuming protein, carbs, and fat. You hear the word tracking macros, you hear the word macro. Macro is just short for the term macronutrients. So when you're tracking your macros, you're simply tracking your macronutrients, which means you are tracking that protein, your carbs, and your fat. Very simple. Very, very easy to do as well when you have that little education behind it and you know how to eat out, you know how to do all those real world things. Literally, it's so incredibly easy, okay? And it's the fastest way to get to where you want to go. Now, when we are removing carbs from the equation, we are overall reducing our calorie intake. So let's say, for example, we are eating 2,400 calories, okay? We know that protein, carbs, and fat they all make up calories, okay? And let's just say that we are getting in that 2,400 calories that we are eating overall, the food that we're consuming. Let's say that, and because also, so think about this way, our protein, our carbs, and our fat, these three each have calories and they're going to make up that 2,400 calories. So let's just say we're getting 800 calories from protein, 800 from fat, and 800 from carbs. Complete example here. And eating those three is going to make up that 2,400, okay? So we've got 800 calories coming from each of our categories, okay? Now, when we remove carbs, in the sake of this example, we're removing 800 calories. So we have just taken 800 calories because we've taken our carbs and we have chucked them to the side. We are now just eating our protein and our fat. Now, this is going to mean that we are now 800 calories less. So we are jumping down to 1,600 calories. How to think about that math there. So if this is the first ever diet that you have ever done, it is very likely that you will see some weight loss happen. And this is not me telling you to go do keto. And we'll talk about more of that in a second. Hang tight on that one. But what's happening is it's creating this mental bridge that low carb equals weight loss. And you want to do more of what worked, right? Because you want more weight loss. And so you want to continue cutting carbs, but you really have no more carbs to cut. So you're either going to try and remove and you're eating 20 carbs, which is extremely unrealistic. And it's really, really, really not good for our body. It's going to mess with our digestive system. So you might notice you're having more bloat. You might be more constipated. You might notice that you're just having indigestion a lot. You're a little bit more gassy. You're going to have tummy pain. You're not going to be seeing changes happen. And you might start having water retention and weight regain. Okay. Just eating low carb is not going to be a realistic thing long term. Okay. Or short term in all honesty here. And what's going to happen is you're going to be starving as well. Starving, social settings. It's hard to eat out when you're not when you're cutting out certain food groups. Energy is going to be completely shot. And what's going to happen is we're going to eventually be so unhappy and we're going to be binge eating. We're not going to be getting the food that we want, that we're just going to throw in the towel. Okay. We're going to say, hey, I don't really want to do low carb anymore. I'm really unhappy doing this. We're going to stop doing that low carb. Okay. And what's going to happen here is, I want to talk about two things here, actually. So number one, we're going to start eating it again, and we'll see the weight regain, and it's going to cause us to go on to the next diet and on and on and on. Before we get into that, because I have some thoughts in there, what's happening when we are giving up is, and this is one of the things about the diet industry that just drives me crazy, okay? In reality, when we're giving up, it's our mind, it's mental, but it's also a physical response in our body that is happening, okay? We're always taught to listen to our body. If we feel achy, we know we're getting sick. We have food poisoning, all of a sudden we throw up. That's our body reacting and getting that food out of us. We feel so tired. It's midnight. We're hey, it's time to go to bed. We get to listen to our body now as well. When we are having when we're being pushed to binge eat, when we're internally feeling such low energy due to not consuming enough food, when our body, and when we're in a very low calorie intake, there are so many negative things that happen. They're down regulating in our body. And this is our body giving us signs because it can't literally say, hey, Caitlen, I need more food. So it gives you signs that your body's saying, hey, I need some more food. I need some support here. I need some nutrients. I'm not doing so well. And I think one of the big things to think about when we decide we're going to stop doing whatever it is, say, for example, keto, right? In all the diets that we do, we're like, I'm not happy doing this diet. I don't want to do it anymore. And instead of thinking like, I'm a failure, what we can think is, hey, it's okay. This was just not for me. Be the problem solver and say, rather than the victim. And I have a note on this as well, because I used to play the victim card all the time and like, oh, the diet screwed me over. And I have thoughts on this too. But rather than playing the victim, be the problem solver, find the root cause of the issue, because then you can take action and fix that root cause, which will then change the overall outcome, okay? So instead of thinking like, this isn't working for me, nothing is going to work for me, think, how can I make this work? What do I do? What do I need to do to see these results happen? This was the biggest mindset shift for me. And it moved me from the complain train into a space where I was like, how can I grow from this situation? How can I use this experience to change what I do in the future, to be better, to do better? And it's one of those things where we want to look at those scenarios and instead of thinking I'm a failure, think, what have I learned from this situation? Okay, well, I'm really unhappy in low carb. I'm really unhappy when I'm restricting my intake. I don't want to do that. Okay, great. So let's find a solution that allows you to still feel amazing in your body, to find that food freedom, to lose that weight, and also heal your metabolism. Hint, hint, cough, cough, reverse dieting. Okay. Now, I had to get that mental piece out there because I think I spent so much time on this complaint train in this victim place of this struggle. And I was like, no. I get to figure out, what do I need to learn from this situation? How can I change my situation? Nobody's going to do it for me, right? And nobody's going to do that for me. I've got to make the best of the situation and I've got to make that change happen. Okay.
I want to interrupt this so lovely podcast of mine to let you know all about the Reverse Diet course. This is my high-level course for women who want to learn exactly how to adjust their macros and heal their metabolism through reverse dieting so they can eat more food, lose more weight, yes please, and take control over their body and results. Reverse dieting is a process that needs to be custom to you as an individual and your metabolism. This is exactly why I have included the Reverse Diet Checklist, which will walk you through exactly when to and when not to adjust your macros based on your own personal biofeedback every week. I've also included my own personal coaching template called the Reverse Diet Plug and Play Spreadsheet, which honestly alone is worth hopping into the Reverse Diet course for. It holds literally all of my knowledge in one spreadsheet of exactly how much of protein, carbs, or fat to adjust, because they are all adjusted separately, to make sure that you are having a kick-butt reverse diet. In addition, because we love a good bonus, you will get access to the macro calculator to make sure that you are actually having proper starting macros. We want that good, solid foundation. You will also get bonus access to my alcohol plug and play tracker to make sure that you're able to pop that bubbly and celebrate this amazing journey while still having the fun cocktails. So go ahead, grab the Reverse Diet course. The link is down below in the show notes. And if you have any questions for me, please feel free to reach out on Instagram at CSCHMIDT.fit, and I am here to support you. Enjoy the rest of the episode.
Now, I think when we're in a very, very low calorie place and we start to eat those carbs again, so say for example, our keto and we start eating carbs again, remember that was 800 calories that in the sake of this example that we took out because we weren't eating carbs. Now we have put them back in, but we were in a 1600 calorie deficit because we took 800 calories away. We've now put them back, meaning we are now eating 800 more calories. And that's going to lead to weight regain, okay? And, it's hard to, because obviously if you don't know, you don't know, which is why I'm happy you're here, because I can teach you what you don't know. But it's not the fact that the carbs themselves caused the weight regain. It was the fact that the calories were taken out and put back in. You could have removed the 800 calories from protein or the 800 calories from fat. had the same exact result. And again, I'm not telling you to remove any kind of food groups, just the education behind why you did see that initial weight loss happen. It's because you were in an overall calorie deficit, okay? Now, and it could have been literally any diet that you have done. Whole30, you're cutting out certain foods, right? So you're removing certain foods, 21-day fix, you're eating in little boxes, meaning you're creating an overall calorie deficit. This is also, so many diets are just like not catered, all diets are not catered to the individual. It's just an overall calorie deficit. That's like Optavia. They are putting you basically are just like paying Optavia, a company, to give you meal replacement bars, which their little protein bars are actually also half the serving of like your regular protein bar. So you're basically paying somebody money to put you into a calorie deficit by replacing real food with protein bars. Then therefore, when you go to eat real food in a real world scenario, right? Not our just like la-di-da diet world. We're not in a real world. What happens is we now don't know how to eat real food, which is crazy to think about because we're so reliant on paying Optavia to eat their protein bars to make us eat 900 calories. Crazy. It's a 900 calorie deficit. Like just to put that in perspective, a child, a baby, like minimum amount they should be eating is 1,200 calories. We did this whole study in this in school about how so many people are eating 1,200 calories, but that's like literally the minimum for a baby. Wild. It is wild. Like grown ass adults eating 1,200 calories, including myself. Way back when I was dieting, I was eating 900 calories, 1,200 calories. And it's just like wild to me. It's wild that the impact the diet industry has on our mind and it like grabs us and it holds on to us until you're out. And we're that diet dropout world, so I'm here for it. So the point of this is all diets are doing the same exact thing. They are cutting out food, okay? And while you think you are doing something different by doing a new diet, you're just moving from one diet to the next, different guidelines, adding to your diet box. So when we get to the actual burnout happening, it is way more than just, a mental. It's become physical and it's become internal, okay? So we've got mental, physical, and internal. The mental burnout is calorie restrictions are hard. Eating 1,200 calories is hard. It is not fun saying no to social settings. It is not fun throwing out the Oreos because you can't handle having any kind of food that you consider, quote unquote bad food, but it's not really because you consider it. It's because the diet world considers it. And now it's trained you to consider it as a bad food. Okay. So can't keep those foods in your house. You got to throw out all the sugar. Your kids start to complain. Your significant others, like, where's the good food? So we're secretly binging in the pantry when it's there. Otherwise, we throw it out. And sometimes we'll take it back out of the trash and we'll eat it because we can't control ourselves. Back in college, I would do that. I would have Oreos. I would dump them. I couldn't control them. I literally would take it back out of the trash, take the container, open it up, and eat those Oreos. Crazy the diet world, the impact it has, okay? Now I've got 2 boxes of Oreos, actually, or not boxes, but little plastic things, whatever they're called, of Oreos in my pantry. Literally, I've not even touched them in so long. And I think it's been like 5 months. And I'm like, I don't even know if these are still good. And I had a couple this past, what is it even? I had a couple 2 days ago and I was like, yeah, that was good. Like, tastes great. Thanks. Move on. And those are things that I used to not be able to be around because I would binge them. So wild to me. So what happens though is we start to think I shouldn't eat this. This is bad, right? So coming back to the good food, bad food mentality, we start to have this idea of I shouldn't eat this. This is bad. I'll just do extra cardio if I do eat this. I'll just order the salad. Then I'm going to go home and I'm going to end up binge eating. And the thing is, mentally, restricting will lead us to the restrict, binge, food guilt cycles. Mentally, that's just the way that our body is going to work. And it's going to lead us into that fear of weight gain, trying to lose weight, the weight regain, weight loss, that cycle happening. And we go out to eat and we say, okay, I'm just going to have just one fry. I'm going to eat just one of your fries. Then it's like, ooh, that was pretty good. Well, I guess I'm already off track. Might as well keep going. You order your own fries. You order this, you order that. You've now surpassed just having a little bit of an overindulge in a meal. You are full on binging. You go home, you keep going, and you wake up the next day. You're guilty, you're feeling off track. And the reason too, you're also feeling guilty is not only, you're feeling guilty because the diet industry makes you feel guilty because it's made you feel like you can't have certain foods. Otherwise you're going to get off track, which has led you into the all or nothing mentality. And that has led to your binge eating. So the problem isn't the food. The problem is the diet industry. And the problem is that we need to heal. Okay. But second, second being physical, when we are in a very large calorie deficit, what's happening is our whole entire body is being down regulated. Okay. And we are essentially what's going to happen is, let's say we've gone from 2,400 calories down to 1,600 calories, down to 1,200 calories, down to 900 calories. During that entire process, our entire body is being lowered and down regulated, meaning we've gone from 2,400 calories down to 900 calories. Our body is used to functioning at 2,400 calories. It's naturally having enough energy. It's basically like when we're going from 2,400 calories down to 900 calories, we're taking that battery level at 100, which is 2,400 calories for the sake of this example. And we're saying, okay, well, we're going to work on like a 10% battery power here, eating 900 calories or whatever the math would be. I don't know what, 30%, but your body is it needs that 100. So you're giving it 30% of battery to try and fuel it 100%. Okay. And what's going to happen is your body is basically just going to start taking the team players of our body and taking them off the field, the ones that aren't mandatory to keep you breathing, to keep you living, because it's going to try and downregulate everything to match that 900 calories because it no longer has 100% energy power to fuel your body, okay? This is why we see energy going down. This is why we see libido going down. This is why we see weight regain, why we're holding on to water. It's because our body's basically just saying like, hey, like, in my notes, I literally have, she doesn't need high libido to survive. Let's mush her up. Get rid of the high energy. Get rid of the high libido. And I guess like mush her up mean like let her be like a little potato, like a couch potato. She's tired. She can't do anything. So we're just going to let her sit there eating her 900 calories, but she's not going to have energy to do anything else. But she can sit there and survive relatively, not great, but she's there. And so you're taking the team players off the field. Okay. And third, internally, we have lost faith in ourselves. We have complete lack of self-confidence. We have the lack of self-worth, and we are confused as to what has gone on. We're at this massive diet, just burnout phase internally, physically, mentally. We are so unhappy. Okay. Now, if this resonates with you and you're like, holy moly, Caitlen, that is me for sure, stay tuned. Because in the next episode, we're going to go through reverse dieting phase 2, which is where we're really talking about the slow metabolism and also the weight regain and pieces about the weight regain that you will be very surprised in, that I think people are just like, wait, oh my gosh, I did not even realize that's why this is happening. Okay. So I'm very excited. Stay tuned for next week's episode. And I just truly, I always get so excited to talk about this. If you are ever like in a space where you're doubting yourself, remember that if I could do it and I was in a place where I was crying daily, I was at the lowest low, I was struggling so hard, I was binge eating regularly, guilt all the time, losing friends, saying no to social settings, and I am free, if I could do it, you can do it too. You are not broken, you are fixable, and you are so freaking capable. So with all this, I will see you in the next episode. I can't wait to see you there. Bye, my beautiful peach.